Game Review.
Everybody, it's Apos and today I'm taking a look at Colin McRae Rally, which is available for $6.99 on the Steam platform. Now, out of the gate, the first thing that needs to be mentioned is that this is not, in fact, a Colin McRae Rally HD upgrade. It is not an HD remake of the old Colin McRae Rally games. It is, in fact, a port of a mobile title cleverly designed by the marketing team to trick people into purchasing it out of nostalgia. And that's really where the bulk of the negative reviews on Steam come from. So if you negate those negative reviews that are just mad about this being a mobile port, is this actually worth your time? Let's dig into the details here. First off, you're presented with your traditional game modes. You can race either a single rally, a single stage from a rally, or your traditional championship mode. But what about those rallies? There's 6 rally events in total, but that number is a little deceiving because those 6 rally events all take place in the same 3 environments. And those 3 environments all reuse the same assets. So all of the rally stages look, feel, and drive identically. More problematic than that is that your selection of cars is the definition of barebone. You have a grand total of 4 cars to choose from. And by 4 cars, I really mean 3 because the 4th car you don't unlock until you pretty much completely beat the championship mode. And once you beat the championship mode, there is, quite frankly, no reason to continue playing. Quite frankly, there's no reason to continue playing past the first 30% of the championship mode. And the core problems present themselves in that dollar to hour ratio, as my playthrough clocked in at 5.5, almost 6 hours. But that number, like everything with this game, is pretty deceptive, because this game likes to pad its content to pretend like there's more there than there actually is. In the championship mode, once you've finished those 6 rallies in those 3 locations, it just recompiles them over and over again in different formations. So you'll race stage 1 from Australia, paired with stage 3 from Greece, so on and so forth. And it will do that over and over again for 70% of the championship. So really, out of that 5.5, 6 hours of gameplay, about an hour, maybe an hour and a half of that was fresh new content. And even out of that fresh new content, a lot of that was reused assets. And the tracks and the cars all play and handle exactly the same. Those familiar with the old Colin McRae Rally games, those familiar with the Dirt series, expect a highly tuned, highly responsive, on-the-nose driving experience, handling experience out of the vehicles. And you don't get that here. The cars, all of them, behave identically. And the tracks themselves, in the Dirt series, you become accustomed to the cars handling drastically different when you shift from dirt to tarmac. That's not the case here. The cars handle the same no matter what the terrain. It's a highly arcade experience that bears very little resemblance to either the Colin McRae Rally series or Dirt. I'd actually say that it plays more like a hyper-arcade version of WRC Rally 4 than anything Codemasters has made. So the value to dollar ratio is pretty bad. But what about the technical side of things? That is also a bit of a mixed bag. As you see, the asset quality is quite poor, quite frankly. Nothing was really punched up for the port to PC. There's not really any poppin' because everything in the foreground has this smeared in Vaseline type look to it, which is less than aesthetically pleasing. And if you are somebody who likes to drive with an in-car view, you're going to have a bit of trouble seeing as this is what your view looks like. So, not ideal. And this being a super arcade racing title, you're probably going to want to use a controller. And I could tell you Xbox One controllers do not work at all. So you'll be stuck using a 360 pad with this title. The menus also are quite difficult to look at, and often hard to discern what you have selected or not because everything is either blue or light blue. It's not really the most useful color palette in terms of PC optimization. It does run at 60 frames per second. There are very little options. Everything is done in a launcher. Ultimately, this is one of those that offers a paltry amount of gameplay for the price tag. Quite frankly, the amount of content you get, I'd say, is comparable to what you'd get in a demo for most other games. Yet this is a $7 product, so that is not good. Everything in this game was done to the bare minimum and nothing more. So ultimately my verdict for Colin McRae Rally is a 3 out of 10. I have trouble recommending this really at any price. Definitely not at full price. I guess if you are a die-hard Rally fan and you see it for $1, you would probably get a solid hour and a half of gameplay out of this, but don't expect anything even bordering of the old Colin McRae Rally series, or dirt. Definitely a disappointment across the board.